to thank one of my subscribers, KM, for sending this particular story, July 5th, 2018, from CNBC. The U.S. labor shortage is reaching a critical point. Ladies and gentlemen, this is happening because it's all tied to the drug epidemic. Number one, this epidemic has made millions of people ineligible for work now. They simply can't pass a drug test. Number two, there's a lot of people that are employed, and when they give random drug tests, they get fired because they're showing up for work high. Number three, there are people that simply gave up and they're not looking anymore for work. And you have to couple that with the immigration issue that's going on in the country where many of the immigrants are no longer showing up for work because they don't want to get caught by ICE. And this is why you're hearing about the farmers now committing suicide, because their crops are rotting. They're losing money. Many of them are not even making as much money as they did 10 years ago. And now all of these stories about farmers in the U.S. are committing suicide. And you have to couple that also with Trump's new trade war that he kicked off. So now you're going to have inflation on top of all of these open jobs on the market. It's a disaster. And ladies and gentlemen, this is going to lead to another recession. Let me go ahead and play this video.
Crossing the tape, the U.S. economy added 177,000 new private sector jobs in June. That falls short of the consensus estimate of 185,000. But the May number revised higher to 189,000 from the originally reported 178,000. Let's break down some of the components of the report. Goods producing industries added 29,000 jobs, with 148,000 from service companies. All of this, of course, comes ahead of tomorrow's government employment report for June. Consensus forecast for that report call for 195,000 new non-farm jobs for the month, with the unemployment rate holding steady at 3.8%. Some other data from the ADP report: small businesses adding 29,000 jobs during the month, with 80,000 by medium-sized companies, 69,000 by large businesses. And breaking it down by industry, education and health services saw 46,000 new jobs during the month. Leisure and hospitality added 33,000, 24,000 new jobs, meantime, in trade and transport, 13,000 in construction, 12,000 in manufacturing. Joining us now with more analysis on ADP, Mark Zandi, chief economist at Moody's Analytics. Mark, great to have you with us. What'd you make of this report? Do you think it forecasts anything for the jobs report tomorrow?
It's all good. Lots of jobs. Still, job creation is close to a couple 100,000 per month, which is, double the rate of the growth in the labor force. So unemployment, which is 3.8%, will continue to decline. So, if all the trend lines continue and everything looks like they will for the foreseeable future, we'll be into the low threes by late next year.
You think we'll see any sort of pickup in wage growth in tomorrow's report?
I don't know about tomorrow's report, but wage growth has picked up. So if you go back, say, 3-4 years ago, wage
Further
growth,
pickup, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, 3-4 years ago, wage growth, look at the plethora of the data, was 1.5% to 2%. That's on a per annum basis. Now we're 2.5 to 3. A year from now, we're going to be consistently over 3. So wage growth is already picking up. Actually, one really interesting statistic coming out of the ADP data is that the wage gains for new entrants into the workforce is accelerating very rapidly. In fact, that's picked up quite a bit over the last 9-12 months. So I think that's a pretty good leading indicator for wage growth for other folks in the labor force. So if employers are paying more for bringing new entrants into their companies, they're going to have to start jacking up wages for everyone. So I think wage growth will pick up quite substantively.
As we go into the jobs report tomorrow, Mark, we're going to be getting the FOMC minutes this afternoon, and I'm curious what you'd be looking for out of that meeting in terms of any sort of guidance on what to expect. I know we had a press conference the last meeting, so maybe there aren't so many question marks. But as soon as that thing crosses, Mark, what are you looking for?
Trade. What do they think about all this trade stuff? I mean, hard to disentangle. None of it's good. There's nothing but downside in my view. But it's key to see what the policymakers think. How much downside is there here? It's like a tax increase, right? It's like you're raising the price of all the imported goods that consumers are buying, and as a result, you're weighing on growth and adding to inflation. It's really makes life very difficult for the Federal Reserve. So I'm really curious to see if we learn any more about how they're thinking about this.
Is there any scenario, Mark, under which you would think that the Fed, if it doesn't show up in the economic data, the impact from trade, would the Fed hold back on a rate hike, do you think, this year? Just as a precaution?
No, I don't think. No.
Yeah, so they're in a box to raise no matter what.
Yeah, well, it's tough. I mean, you're at 3.8 on the unemployment rate. It is going into the low threes. There's only 2 other times in history we've been there, and we've been in wars when that was going on: World War II and the Korean War. So I think the Federal Reserve really has got to look through most of everything, just focus on that, because if they don't, this economy is going to overheat, and we're going to end up back in recession. And the odds of that are already rising pretty significantly.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt we are going to be in another recession. You can't have all of these open jobs out here, and on top of that, a trade war that's going on. It's no doubt expected. You're going to see another recession, and there's nothing they
Fortnite is a runaway success for game.
There's nothing they can do to stop this. Okay, and the only way you're going to stop it is to fix this problem with the opioid epidemic, and we know that's not going to get fixed. We already see this. And and now because of the opioid epidemic, you have a lot of people with police records that are not eligible to get hired on many of these jobs now. I don't know what they're going to do. I really don't. But there is no way a recession is avoidable at this point. It's going to happen. Please tell me what you think. I will leave the link to this article in the description box. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.